Everybody that you meet, you can learn something from them.
That it's not necessarily what you achieve in life that matters most, but it's who you become in the process of those achievements that really matters.
We all need people who believe in us. They expand the boundaries we place on our own lives.
What makes me most proud is how I played the game. Being real, authentic, and spontaneous, and loving the game, to me, is what it was all about.
When you retire, you may get a chance to go to football heaven. This is football heaven.
This is a presentation of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Pro Football Hall of Fame Selection Show Special. I'm your host, Jameer Howerton, and as always, we have a great show for you. As promised, we're back where we're going to take a look at the 123 modern era nominees, and that list has been cut down to 26. I told you it was going to be 25, but it was cut down to 26. And joining us today is Vice President of Museum and Exhibit Services right here for the Pro Football Hall of Fame is Salim Chowdhury to break it all down. But guys, I'm also going to need you to get your popcorn ready because Hall of Fame Productions has put together like no other 26 of the semifinalists that's right here on this list, a highlight reel. So you're going to get a chance to really enjoy some of your favorite NFL greats. But first, we're so honored to be joined by the Vice President of the Pro Football Hall of Fame Museum and Exhibit Services, Mr. Salim Chowdhury. Salim, welcome to the Selection Show Special, Part 2, sir.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here.
Salim, once again, as we promised that you would come back and put everything in its proper context, last time we spoke, there were 123 modern era nominees. That list has been cut down to what we thought would have been 25, but it's 26. Tell us how we arrived at this list, sir.
So you're right, Jameer. We had in September announced the 123 nominees that were nominated by individuals like you, Jameer. You could have done it, fans, selectors. Anyone can nominate someone for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that list was 123, and we announced that in September. Since that time, we provided a great amount of information to all of our selection committee, 49 persons on that. And then they used all of that information and data and their own research to make the very difficult decision to trim that to a list of 25. Now, as you said, the list was supposed to be 25, but this year there was a tie at 25. So the bylaws state that the ties carry over, and so we have a semifinalist list of 26.
Salim, when you look at that list, are there any surprises to you that caught your eye like, wow, he didn't make it or he's on the list still?
Well, it's a very deserving list. When you look at the list, you're like, all these guys deserve to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's not easy to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that's why we have a very strenuous year-long process with our selection committee and very regimented bylaws to make sure that that process is carried out to the T. Again, when looking at it, any one of those names can come out and be a finalist to be discussed for election.
Well, I still see that the wide receivers dominate the list with 6, and then right behind them are the defensive linemen dominating the list with 5. But when you, over the course of your 25 years of covering this and being one of the administrators and dealing with the Hall of Fame selection committee, in comparison to the years past, are you seeing a lopsided view, or is it pretty much equally fair balance with each position group that's represented?
Well, what we charge our selection committee to do is to vote for the best candidates that are on the list. There is not supposed to be any trends or it's time to get a defensive back in this year. They look at the list and they vote for the best. And when trying to predict what's going to happen, especially when we get to the finalist round where we're trying to determine, okay, who's going to be in the class, we did an analysis one year, and there is over, once we get to that 15 finalist number, there'll be 18 finalists this year. There is over 38,000 combinations from that list that could be in the class each and every year. So it's impossible to predict.
Wow. I see guys like Anquan Bolden, Andre Johnson, Steve Smith, and Devin Hester. There's just really exciting times around this time of the year. And with that being said, Salim, what is the next course of action in the process?
Well, as you know, of course, we announced today the list of the semifinalists. From there, we will charge our selection committee to, again, analyze this list and provide us your top 15. So essentially, they just have to shave off 10, which sounds easy, but it's excruciating for them when you talk to them. I know you've talked to many selectors, Jarrett Bell and others among them, talking about how agonizing it is to make these reductions. But that's exactly what will happen. And it's pretty fast. They don't have a lot of time to dwell on it because we'll be announcing the finalists in late December or early January.
And we can't wait to have you back on the show to go through that list and to go through those 15 modern era finalists, along with the 3 that have already been selected. And who are they, Salim, again?
Yeah, the senior finalist is Cliff Branch. The contributor finalist is Art McNally. And the coach candidate is Dick Vermeil. They'll be part of the 15, that'll be added with the 15 modern era finalists.
Well, Salim, thank you again for your time. I appreciate this, for putting everything in its proper context. We'll see you again. Well, guys, get your popcorn ready, because coming up next, you're going to see all 26 finalists right here on the Selection Show Special.
Shop online at the Pro Football Hall of Fame store,
just like Hall of Famers, for exclusive Hall of Fame gear. Make your friends and family Hall of Famers. With all 32 teams in the store, there's something for everyone.
Visit us online at profootballhof.com/store.
Welcome back to the Selection Show Special Part 2. Man, before we dive in and show you these amazing highlights from some of your NFL greats, listen to this. The Pro Football Hall of Fame and Ford have teamed up once again for the Pro Football Hall of Fame fan vote presented by Ford. As you guys know, we need you to visit www.profootballhof.com/fan vote to predict the 5 modern era players who will be elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2022. This marks the 12th consecutive year that Ford, the official automobile of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, has invited fans to predict the outcome of the annual Hall of Fame class. Fans who vote automatically become eligible for sweepstake prizes, including a grand prize trip for 2 to the 2022 Enshrinement Week powered by Johnson Controls, and of course, Canton, Ohio. According to your votes, here's a look at the semifinalists who are leading the way. Wow, that list is amazing. Keep those votes coming. The Pro Football Hall of Fame really loves the fact that our fans can engage and be a part of the process. Now, it's time to check out some highlights.
Back there he goes. Fred's at the 40. Fred breaks a tackle. He's on the run at the 50. Fred's on the go. He's at the 30. Fred 20. Fred 10. He's into the end zone. Touchdown Jacksonville. Wow. 70 yards for Fred Taylor.
Give George going right. Breaks one tackle. Spins. Dives. Fights. Scores. What a run. Eddie George. Not to be denied.
Touchdowns by Ricky Waters.
It'd be amazing, I think, it'd be certainly validation to
Hall of Fame career.
Him and everything. It'll tell me, for one, I did something right. So to get in the Hall, that just tells me I did it the right way.
I'm gonna break that first tackle. If I catch the ball, you see one dude just turn up field.
Pressure coming, Schaub unloads and complete to Johnson. Andre Johnson, touchdown.
You don't know who Steve Smith is. By the end of this game, you don't know who he is. I promise you that.
It's a shame the guy isn't in the Hall of Fame. I don't think there's any question about that. He should be in there. They're doing him a disservice. He's the best offensive tackle I've seen in my lifetime with my own two eyes.
And I am honored to throw Willie into the mention or hopes of being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because I feel like he truly deserves it.
That jacket represents, again, the blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice of every single person that's been a part of this journey.
Just to be mentioned among the greats, to ever play the game. And that's one thing that I've always prided myself on, is just trying to be consistent over the long haul.
When I think about all of the people that have been a part of this journey, it's exciting. I represent all of them. I think about all the people that have come before me.
You got a guy like Mathis, offensive tackles, they better be kicking on that first step, or else, Mathis can turn that corner and create some pressure and some havoc in that backfield.
He's very athletic. He can play laterally. He has good vertical speed and explosion. He uses his hands well. He's got very good balance. He's hard to knock off his feet. And he's a very instinctive player.
I wasn't the biggest or the fastest or the strongest. I definitely wasn't even the smartest, but I think I was the most confident, out there, because it was just from preparation alone. Simple as that.
What I wanted to do was just be mentioned when guys talked about defense, when they talked about great players, and I feel like now, I know now that I'm done. When people talk about football, they mention Patrick.
They really don't measure the heart, they just measure height and weight. And I think maybe they ought to invent a computer to measure heart.
The type of pass rusher that I am today is because of DeMarcus. His fanatical effort and relentless pursuit when he was with the Cowboys and with the Broncos, that's the type of player that I wanted to be. So I idolized DeMarcus growing up, and now I get to play beside him.
Back to
throw on second down. They chase him out of the pocket. The screen, and he sets a screen up, and it's knocked down at the 38-yard line. Fumble. Tackle. Do the Packers have the ball? Apparently they do. And they're going to give it to him. Butler goes for the touchdown.
Through my years, I always felt that the special teams were being underrated, and they were. There are three equally important departments to play: offense, defense, kicking. And we had in Buffalo the greatest special teams player of all time, Steve Tasker. He was amazing as a special teams player, whether it was covering kicks, returning kicks, blocking kicks. Jim Kelly would always tug at me and say, I need him in here as a receiver. But he was just too important on the special teams.
That guy there in that Super Bowl, I remember after we did the pregame show, we ran up under the tunnel. We were in the tunnel in Miami. And I was like, he's gonna house this thing.
Yeah, you said that.
He's gonna house it.
But everyone thought, well, this is impossible because they're not gonna kick it to him.
He's gonna house it. And as he got it and as he cut, when he cut, I saw him find daylight. I ran from up under the tunnel down to the end zone that he was going. I was trying to meet him there. I'm barefooted, running out there on the field, and he housed that thing. And I was in tears because I was so proud of it. This guy, to me, is the greatest return ever.
When we come back, we wrap things up right here on the Pro Football Hall of Fame Selection Show Special.
Now is your chance to vote for who you think should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2022. Go to profootballhof.com/fan vote today and vote for your favorite football legends. As you vote, you'll be entered for a chance to win prizes, including the grand prize of an all-inclusive trip for two to the 2022 enshrinement ceremony in Canton. Vote today at profootballhof.com/fan vote.
What's it going to mean to walk your team through these halls and visit the bus gallery where they can see the legends of the game, guys that you competed against?
It's going to mean a lot. I've been there on several occasions. A few of my friends have gotten inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That room is special. And that's the aim for every player that's played the game. And as you go through that hallway, you'll see the stories, you'll see what it took for them to get there. And they're going to understand the work required that has to go into that. So it'll be a great day of lessons, a great day of history, but also inspiration to say, hey, you know what? This could be you. It is possible. It is possible. With the right amount of effort, the right amount of focus, and the right attitude, and a little bit of hope, and a little bit of luck can get you there.
Welcome back to the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Selection Show Special Part 2. Before we wrap things up, that was a listen to first-time semifinalist running back Eddie George, who is now the new head coach of the Tennessee State Tigers, who unfortunately fell short to the Grambling State Tigers during this year's Pro Football Hall of Fame Black College Classic. Coach George and his Tigers finished an overall record of 5-6, 3-3 in the conference, and a home record of 3-1 and a road record of 2-3. And we would like to wish Eddie George and his Tigers the best of luck as they move into next year. Well, guys, before we close out today's show, let's take a little step back and see what we learned and talk about some of the takeaways. Well, number one, Salim shared with us at the end of December, the Pro Football Hall of Fame will announce the 15 finalists. And when you look at this list of 26, still dominating the way are the wide receivers. And what jumps out to you when you look at this wide receiver list are the first-year eligibles: Anquan Bolden, Andre Johnson, Steve Smith Sr., and of course, who's underneath that special teams category is no other than Chicago Bears legend, Devin Hester. Also, when you look at that list, there are 3 long-standing semifinalists, and that's Tony Baselli. This is his 7th straight time of being a semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And then underneath him is Torrey Holt, who has 8 straight consecutive years of being a semifinalist. And since 2004, this is the 9th time that Steve Tasker has been on this list. So we can't wait for all of this to unfold. It's a great time in the history of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And we want to thank you guys so much for joining us for part 2 of the Selection Show special. Now, on behalf of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we would like to wish you and yours a very safe and happy Thanksgiving. I'm Jameer Howerton. Thank you for joining us for part 2 of the Selection Show special.
This is a presentation of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.